Hello guys, it's Mike Grimes from Punch and Mike Podcast, and today I have a guest on.
Hi, I'm Shade, or Shade's Hideout. What's up?
Yeah, and today we're going to be talking about comics. Even though that's a broad term, we're going to go into detail about some certain things, but we're just going to have a podcast about comics.
Heck yeah. So Mikey, when did you, what was like your first comic book, man?
The first comic I've read, oh wow. I've been reading comics since I was little, so
Same.
My I don't remember, but one of my favorite comics is Old Man Logan.
Oh my god, dude, that's a classic. I read that one, right? And I found out that I own it the other day. I didn't know that I had it. I was digging through my closet and I found it, like total mint condition and everything, the whole book, and I was just like, neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be neat. I read it in 6th or 7th grade. Or 5th grade. I don't know. I don't remember.
What were your thoughts on Logan?
On the movie?
Yeah.
I thought they portrayed it pretty well, even though it's like coming from the comic, they can't do much because it was only Fox owning them at the time.
Yeah, and it's kind of hard to put Hawkeye and Hulk in
because MCU or Disney owned them.
Exactly.
And they were in the MCU, but Logan as a separate story, forget Old Man Logan, the comic, Logan as a separate story, phenomenal. But if you compare it to the comic, it's lackluster in the sense of, oh, you wanted it to be like this, but it can't be.
It's very loosely inspired.
Exactly.
I love the film, personally. It's like my favorite in that whole X-Men universe.
We watched it together.
We did?
The first time.
Oh my god, we did!
Yeah.
Oh my god, that was like 2017.
Yep.
Oh my god, holy jeez. That was 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh man. But, thanks for asking. What was my first comic? Thank you, Mikey, for asking. Yeah. So, my first comic book experience. So, like, it wasn't even really a comic book. It was sort of the thing that got me into it. It was Batman 1989, right? That film, we had it on VHS cassette on this old lake house we had in Vermont, and my dad put it on just on the VHS because I wanted to watch something, anything. And I was probably like 4 or 5 years old. I was really young. At most 6, but I was had to be 4. I was 4. And so when I watched it, I just remember seeing Batman in the beginning of that movie with like his cape out and like the wings were out, were like spread and everything. And I fell in love at that moment. I fell in love and wanted to learn more about Batman and everything. I got involved with everything. I got involved with the TV shows, and I wanted to buy all the comics. And I think the first comic book I remember like Dad getting me was actually a I can't remember who wrote it, but it was a reinterpretation of the Spider-Man symbiote, the Back in Black story arc. And so that was probably my first exposure, and I just fell in love through there.
Amazing.
Yeah.
You want to know what I was doing at the age of 4?
What?
Mixed martial arts.
Heck yeah!
Yeah. Oh my god, those comics have been a big influence in my life. My dad had the original G.I. Joe comic, but it got ruined in a flood.
Oh.
But he taught me everything that I know about comics up until the point now where I've learned by myself. But he taught me a lot about comics and always told me to keep them in good condition, and obviously because they're worth something one day. Mm-hmm. Not anymore because comics are mass produced nowadays. Mm-hmm. But they could be worth something, you know?
You see, I preserve them
anyway,
with the same. Yeah, it's like
even if they're not worth money, you still
your father's
them.
Philosophy of collecting them and preserving them because they are like artifacts. You know, like that's the same exact philosophy I have with them. Like it's the same with action figures, I guess, too, and everything. But like with comics, it's just like these are the blueprints, if you will, for what become the MCU, what become the DC Extended Universe, what become these amazing experiences in outside media, like beyond just the comic books. And like it's just, they're so special that it's like they need to be preserved in that way, because it's like
they're the stepping stones for everything else.
Oh my god, yeah. Like I think one of my favorite comic books of all time, you know what, it is my favorite, I'm gonna go out and say Dark Knight Returns. Ooh, favorite of all time.
I just finished that recently, like 3 months ago, I'd say.
Oh my god, what'd you think?
I thought a lot of reading. It was more like a book more than a comic.
Yes.
But it was phenomenal.
It's just such a riveting story, such an interesting story too. Like an older Batman that grizzled veteran Batman, if you will, and he's taking on Superman. He's got an old Green Arrow on his side. Yeah. He's got
he's fighting the Joker still.
He's fighting the Joker still. Dude, that scene's chilling. When I was little, because I watched The Dark Knight Returns, the animated thing first.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I had to be in 6th grade or something like that. Like, that freaked me out. The scene with the batarang is, like, in his eye and all that stuff. And, like, he cracks his neck. I was like, oh, my God. Spoilers, sorry. I mean, the comic's, like, 30 years old, 40 years old now. But, you know. But, yeah. What else did you want to talk about with comics?
I don't know. What upcoming comic movies are there? There's Spider-Man 3, Black Widow. Well, not comic book movies, but like movies in the MCU based on comics. You know, because you can't call them comic book movies because they're their own thing.
I feel like people are sleeping on this one. I can't wait for Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
And, I can't wait for that one.
I don't know much about that, but...
Basically, it's Bruce Lee and Naruto coming into the MCU at the same time. Literally, like, Shang-Chi is based off of Bruce Lee, and he can also do shadow clone stuff. Like, he makes clones of himself, just like Naruto. So, kill 2 birds that I love with 1 stone. Well, yeah.
And then WandaVision just came out.
I haven't watched that yet.
I haven't watched that either.
Yeah.
I heard from a friend that it's pretty good. Like, they thought it was going to be boring at first, but they watched it, and it's essential to watch, they said, to learn about the new Doctor Strange movie and
it's going to tie right into Doctor Strange, which I believe Spider-Man 3 will also tie into,
yeah, because Spider-Man 3 comes out first, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, and that movie, when I see Toby, I'm just going to die.
Let's hope. I hope it's not just a bunch of propaganda and false media.
You see, I have a weird thought where it's like there's so much going on in this movie that what if, because Tom Holland's contract, it said that it's he's got 1 solo outing and then 1 team up movie and he's done with the MCU. So what if I don't think necessarily this will be the case, but it's a thought. What if Spider-Man 3? Yep, Spider-Man 3 is his own solo movie. And all these cameos are going to be like the end credits or toward the end, and it's going to lead into an ensemble film. And the ensemble film is Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield.
Speaking of Spider-Man, who do you think is the best live-action Spider-Man?
Tobey Maguire, no one else.
Actually, let me say this: who's the best Peter Parker then? Because it's not Tobey. I think it's Tom. I think it's Tom.
I think Tom's a better okay. Let me make this clear though. Like, I like Tobey better. Yeah. I like if you were to make me hand choose my Spider-Man or my Peter Parker / Spider-Man, it would be Tobey. But I think Tom does nail who Peter Parker is.
Yeah.
A lot better. I wouldn't say a lot better, but certainly the point gets across a lot more clearly with his interpretation of Spider-Man.
I agree.
Yes, I agree. Who's your favorite Spider-Man in general? Like that isn't Peter Parker. So like Miles or Spider-Punk.
Maybe. I like Miles a lot. Definitely, not just because of the racial integrity of him being a black Spider-Man.
He's a character who really stands on his own. Like exactly. Especially in Spider-Verse. Like that's my favorite incarnation of Miles. The Spider-Verse incarnation is, I think, beyond the best version.
I think he's phenomenal. I think he's very relatable and a nice character to look at for him only being 13 when he becomes Spider-Man. Because when I was 13 and I saw that, I thought I could be on top of the world, thinking like, oh wow, like Spider-Man's 13. Like when I was reading about Miles, and I was like, wow, like that makes me strive to be better. You know.
I think other than Peter Parker, if you had to make, because Peter Parker is like one of my favorite characters in fiction, so he's obviously my favorite person to don the spider mask.
Yeah.
But I think.
I don't mean to cut you off.
No,
but
I
think personally my favorite incarnation of Peter is the Spider-Man game. I think they do it perfectly.
I 100% agree. That is my favorite Spider-Man ever to exist.
I'm sad they changed the character model though.
Yeah, I really.
It's grew on me.
It's grown. It hasn't grown on me yet, to be honest. Like I
like the old one.
I like the old one a lot, but I just don't understand why they did it. It's like if it's not broke, don't fix it. But
back to what you were saying.
Yeah, I think that my favorite Spider-Man that's not Peter Parker is. I'm gonna go with Spider-Gwen. I really I think she's got the best spider suit design outside of, our regular Spider-Man. I love how the white and pink really mesh with each other. I really like her story. And I think she's a really interesting Spider-Woman, if you will.
Yeah.
And I know that most people will call her just Spider-Woman, but I say Spider-Gwen. It's just
it makes more sense.
Yeah, I just rolls off the tongue better.
Yeah. Like Gwenpool.
Gwenpool. I've not read too much of her.
I haven't read much about her. I don't think I've read a single thing about her. I've seen things about her, but
I've only looked at pretty comic book covers in Joker's Child.
Yeah.
A local comic
Shout
book store.
out to Joker's Child.
Oh man, I gotta go back. I've not been there in so long.
I bought all the boys from there.
They have the whole boys like.
Now they don't.
Now they don't because of you. Dang it.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta go back there. You're making me want to go back there today if I'm able to. But let's see. Oh, another question I wanted to ask you is in the comic book realm. We can go to a different hero if you will, because we talked about him before. But who's your favorite Bat Family member?
Jason Todd, I think.
Jason Todd?
Because I relate to him the most with being an angry, upset child because he feels let down.
Well, you and I then are going to get into a lot of disagreements.
Why?
I'm wearing his shirt right now.
Yeah, I know.
My favorite, and nobody can see it, but I'm wearing a Nightwing shirt right now. Nightwing, as I can't wait till both of them, Red Hood and Nightwing, come into live action. I'm telling you, $1 billion movie waiting to happen, a Nightwing Red Hood buddy cop movie. Nightwing's good cop, Red Hood's bad cop, and they just are going around Gotham causing a wreck.
Yeah.
More so Jason would be causing a ruckus.
Yeah, I also really like Nightwing, or Dick Grayson. Damian Wayne's my least favorite.
I do like Damian, but I can definitely see why people...
I also dislike him mainly just because of the Injustice universe.
Injustice is a whole can of worms. Like, I think Injustice, for those who don't know, spoilers, in Injustice, Damian Wayne dons the mantle of Nightwing because he murders Dick Grayson by... Literally, it's the stupidest thing ever. Like, Dick was annoying him when they were, I believe it was an Arkham Asylum
breaking.
And Dick Grayson was kind of pestering him, and as a result... Damian throws like his bow staff or something like that right at his temple, and Dick Grayson dies.
Yeah, he falls on a rock and breaks his neck.
It's really kind of unceremonious death.
As somebody who watched WWE would say, he went out like a jobber.
Yeah, it was a very unceremonious death for such an impactful character in the Batman mythos, and like the fact that he donned the Nightwing suit, ditched Bruce and joined Superman. I could definitely see why people have a problem with that. I feel Damian was.
He's also very
interesting. He
hasn't grown up much since he was brought in. A lot of other characters have, like all the other Batman family have, because they've all donned Batman at one point. That's why I called them the Batmen.
True. I do like the bratty nature of Damian personally. I do like his character. He's not. I don't think he's in the upper echelons if I were to rank the Bat family. He'd definitely be on the lower end, but I do like his character. I just think that he's the
I think he's the Raphael of the
one
group.
trick. He's definitely he's definitely more Raph than even Red Hood is. But
exactly.
I feel like the issue with Damian compared to the other Bat family members is that he's very he has that one trait about him, which is his aggressiveness, and you're right, it doesn't really change. I appreciate how in like the animated films they try to kind of give him an arc where he's more friendly with Bruce, but he does seem to be more of like the one-trick pony out of the group, which is kind of a shame considering his background in the League of Shadows and with Talia being his mom. But I know everybody says Tim is the best Robin, they love Tim, but I think Dick Grayson will always, because just his story to becoming Nightwing, I think will always be my favorite Robin.
I think if they're put up against each other, I think Tim Drake is the smartest one.
Oh yeah,
but
he's the best detective.
I think at the end of the day, I always think that Dick Grayson would always win if the four Robins were to fight.
I agree. No, I think what it would go to, right? If the four Robins were to fight, I think the final two would be Jason and Dick.
Yeah.
Because and that would be a bloodbath. I think Jason and they would go at it, and I think Jason would get the upper hand because he would be a lot more aggressive. But then Nightwing will tactically find a way to
kind of like Leonardo and Raphael. Whenever they fight in any form of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, it's always them two as the last ones, and then it's Raphael being aggressive, overwhelming Leonardo just countering him and winning.
Yeah, I agree. That's a very fitting scenario, especially the red and blue sort of aspect of it. But I think that definitely my least favorite Robin, probably because I hate saying this, I really really do, because I like him, but it's like the least best. I'm not saying he's the worst. I'm saying he's the least best. I think the least best Robin in a weird way is probably the Dark Knight Returns one. I don't even remember her name, and it's like my favorite comic book ever. And
she doesn't really fit the role of Robin, I don't think.
I just feel like we never got enough of her, you know? Yeah. Like, I wish we got more.
When they did the sequels, she wasn't even Robin anymore.
Oh, that's right. You're right. I forgot I forgot. The Dark Knight Strikes Back is definitely a interesting follow-up to...
The two follow-ups, Master Race, I think the other one's
Master Race is the third one.
Yeah, right? They're very confusing, as I would say. Like, I started reading it, and I couldn't finish it because I was genuinely getting too confused. Like,
who would you say? By the way, while Nightwing may be my favorite Bat Family member, I'm excluding Batman. I need to say that because Batman, I think
Batman's my favorite as well.
Batman's my favorite superhero.
Yeah,
I think.
It's hard to say. I think Batman has the best comics out of all the superheroes I've ever read comics of.
I agree.
Like, there's just too many phenomenal ones. DC, I gotta say, to anybody who's a fanboy of Marvel, DC has better comics, period. I gotta say that. Marvel may have good stories, but I think DC's Batman stories carry it.
I'd like to make it clear, I absolutely adore both.
Same I agree. Here.
I like Mikey and I both adore. I was just telling him before the podcast how people get like really tribal of Marvel versus DC, and it's like, why can't we like the both of them? They're both great. Yeah. But I can't help but agree. I think while The Dark Knight's my favorite film of all time, if you were to take every good movie from DC and every good movie from Marvel, yes, Marvel does have more good films. I agree with the statement that when I think of the best comic books, you know, the best American comic books of all time, at least 7 of them are DC, and the other 3 are probably Marvel or something like that. It's like I just can't help that.
Like, when I think of Marvel good comics, the only one that I think of like by itself is a great story that doesn't need a bunch of superheroes in it to make it good is probably Old Man Logan.
Oh yeah, I really love Old Man Logan.
Top 5 of best Marvel comics.
Yep. I also really liked. You know, this is one I haven't heard too much about, but I really liked Maximum Carnage. I thought that was cool. Maximum Carnage is cool. I really liked.
Kraven's Last Hunt was good.
I have not read Kraven's Last Hunt actually.
I've seen a lot about it. Haven't read it myself, but I've read some of it.
You know, this is one that's really ridiculous, but it's a fun one if you want to just see a very ridiculous concept. Wolverine Goes to Hell is a very fun one.
Death of Wolverine's a good comic as well.
Death of Wolverine. Let's see. My favorite Marvel comic of all time. That I love the original, not 2, but the first Civil War.
Civil War.
I did the second one.
Civil War 2, biggest letdown.
Oh my god. Civil War 2.
I don't understand why they need to make it more political. You know, they made it weird. You know,
it definitely just felt like it was riding off the coattails of the success of Civil War 1. Civil War, the film that made $1 billion. Yeah.
Very good film, though.
Very good film.
I think it's better than the Civil War 2 comic.
I agree. The Civil War film was very special to me because when that one was coming out, because like I knew somebody who had a hand in the creation of Civil War, the comic book. And Buddy Scalera, shout out to Buddy. And he, you know, had a close relationship. He talked with Stan Lee. He did so much.
Somebody dropped off food.
He did so much. Just cut that part out, I guess.
Yeah.
Cut this part out, future Mikey. He did so much to kind of, you know, impact that sort of comic book world. And him and I talked about Captain America Civil War, this comic book creator and I. And so because of that, hello, Cat. I have a very special connection with the Civil War movie because it's almost like I know somebody who had a hand in how this thing kind of even got made, even if it was a very minute part he had. And so I love the Civil War film. However, I do think the comic book adaptation, it's more exciting because it's just bigger. There's more characters.
Yeah. But more characters doesn't always mean better.
Yes.
That's why I think, personally, I don't like Infinity War as much as people say. Because it's just like, it's a bunch of characters. But I think the story itself is very overrated.
Really? I actually think that while I enjoy Endgame a lot better as a film, that's incorrect. I enjoy Endgame better in terms of sheer entertainment. I think it's a more entertaining movie, but I do think Infinity War is the better film because I actually really like its story.
Yeah.
I think its story, I understand why you think it could be overrated, but I think there is quite a well done subversion, because I remember sitting there in the theater the first time I was watching Infinity War and thinking, how are they going to wrap this up? Like, there's 30 minutes left, and Thanos isn't even, like, scratched yet. Thanos was just coming to Earth at this point, and I'm like, how are they going to wrap this up in the last 30 minutes? And what do you know? They didn't. They killed everybody off. And why do you think it's overrated? I
think so because everybody brings up the fact that it's such a great movie because the villain wins. Like, not every movie has the villain win, and I think the movies that do have the villain win, interesting, very good. But this one, in fact, it was hyped up to be this great masterpiece. Like, everybody hypes it up.
People said it was like, this is the first time a film has ever done that.
Yes, exactly. That's why I feel that this movie is a lot more overrated than...
I think that's fair. Like, it may be the first time you saw a movie where the villain wins, but it doesn't mean that that's the first time that that's happened. Yeah. And so I hear what you mean, but personally, I think it was rather well done. I really enjoyed it.
I think so, too. I just think it's overrated.
Yep, that's fair. That's fair. I really liked it.
From a hardcore fan standpoint, I think all the casual fans made it seem so much... Same with Black Panther. They were like... Everybody was like, this is one of the greatest movies to come out. Sure, it did well for black culture, but it doesn't make it one of the greatest films just because it brings in culture.
Yeah, I think Black Panther's a really... I really liked Black Panther, but I do see a lot of issues with... particularly like I do see the issues with the film's conclusion in a way.
Yeah.
It's not really narrative, it's more so the artistic aspect of it. Like, I just think the final fight is extremely lame. Like, they're in a dark tunnel, you can't really see them, and it's just boom, boom, big purple blast, boom, big purple blast, boom, big purple blast, and it just, I don't know, it was kind of underwhelming considering there's so many other set pieces that look, pun intended, marvelous. But yeah, no, I think that's fair. As for Infinity War and Black Panther, especially Infinity War, I really thoroughly enjoyed that film. But I could see why people find it overrated, but as for me, I think that it's rated exactly how it should be. I do disagree with the folk, though. I do disagree with the folk that say, oh, this is the first time a film did... Thanos was right. I'm like, no, come on. No. Like, he's not right. Like, let's not go that far. But yeah. So what else in the comic book world?
They just recently did the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles: The Last Ronin. So that's interesting. Basically, okay, it's not a movie. It's not a TV show, for anybody wondering. For anybody who got this far. It's not a movie or a TV show. It is a comic book. It is an alternate universe from what we know, or an alternate future, as we should say. Made by Kevin Eastman, who was the original writer. And all the turtles are dead. Spoiler alert, because I know everybody on TikTok spoiled it already, but I gotta say it anyway. Michelangelo is the last turtle.
My boy's the last turtle? Yep. He's my favorite. I feel like he always gets the short end of the stick. Thank favorite. God.
Look over there.
Oh my God, yes! Oh my God, Mikey boys. Let's go.
But Michelangelo has been my favorite because when I grew up, when I was born... when I was like 2 or something, I started watching the 80s cartoon as my mom had DVDs of it. And that's the reason my room right now that we're recording in is orange. And my theory on why my favorite color is orange is because of Michelangelo.
So, Mikey and I, just to kind of delve into how long we've known each other, I say we live in parallel a lot. Because there's so many things in our lives that I'm just like, that's exactly how it played out in mine. Or that's exactly what I thought. I was obsessed with orange when I was little, Mikey. I was obsessed. You don't understand. Wild Mutt was my favorite Ben 10 alien. Charizard was my favorite Pokemon. Michelangelo was my favorite Ninja Turtle. And I still have an unhealthy obsession with Goku.
Oh my God.
And Naruto.
Yeah.
It's like orange has impacted my life so much.
Yeah.
Just like you.
Yeah, it's still my favorite color.
But go on with Last Ronin. Like, what's going on? Why is Mikey the last one?
So what's told, or what we believe, is that Shredder's grandson is the one who killed the turtles.
Oh.
Or at least his mother did, possibly, and the grandson is still alive, but Michelangelo wants revenge on the Shredder bloodline.
Is he Shredder the Third?
Probably. Well, his daughter had him. So Shredder's daughter had him.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if she was Shredder at one point, because Shredder had to have died. Like, he doesn't exist anymore. the Michelangelo. I thought of it like I was confused at first because I was like, how is he alive in like hundreds of years, or not hundreds of years, but decades, years in the future? And I was like, they're turtles. They may be humans, but they're also turtles. Turtles live a long time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's...
I was so confused at first. I was like, how has he survived 3 bloodlines? Or 3 generations? And then I was like, oh, he's a turtle.
He's a turtle. Yeah, makes
and
sense.
a mutant.
I mean, they would, if Splinter and the turtles were born at the same time, they would far outlive him, perhaps.
Yeah, because he's only a rat and a human. But I also found out recently the original... I have the original TMNT comic, like, just remade, like, or reproduced. Splinter was originally a rat, not a human. He was a rat to Hamato Yoshi, who was a human that trained in martial arts, and Splinter was a rat that would watch him train in martial arts. And Hamato Yoshi killed Shredder's brother, so Shredder came to New York and killed Hamato Yoshi.
I could have sworn like there was a
the original 80s cartoon, Hamato Yoshi was Splinter.
Oh, okay.
That's where I got confused.
Because I that origin, like that's what I thought it was, and I thought it was that because I used to watch this Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon that I can't remember. I think it was literally just called TMNT. It came out early 2000s, and it was just
the 2003 comic.
One of the most just kick butt intros ever. The 1, 2, 3, 4 turtles. Yeah. I love that. I love that intro. But like I remember seeing an origin story, and I thought that was what happened. He was a mouse that watched Hamato Yoshi, or I can't remember the exact episode. It's been quite a while, but yeah, interesting. I thought that was the origin, but I guess I was mistaken.
Well, yeah, the origin is that he was a rat.
Yes, he was a rat.
I believe the origin because I watched the 80s cartoon. The 80s cartoon told me that he was a human named Hamato Yoshi that was betrayed by Shredder, banished to New York, and then that's why he hated Shredder. I don't know. The nerds that know TMNT 1989 or 87, the cartoon, you can correct me on it. I don't know. I haven't watched it in a while.
I haven't been too versed as of recent in Turtles lore, as you all know too. So I'm of no help.
Yeah.
But
also this new Ronin comic does not have Jenica, who is the 5th turtle. So
that's the yellow one, right? The one with
And now they also have a pink turtle.
Oh.
So her name is Lita. No, not Lita. Yeah, maybe Lily or Lita. I think it is something like that. And I could be completely wrong, but she's an albino turtle that has like pink coloring on her because she comes from the future at one point.
Oh.
And I don't know, time travel in the Turtles. Also, New York and the Turtles got bombed by a mutagen bomb. So now a section of New York is all mutants. So it's gotten really weird, but I love it.
Speaking of mutants, I got a little versus battle for you.
Yes.
Shredder versus the Silver Samurai. Who wins?
Ooh. I love to say Shredder, but I don't know. I don't know enough about Silver Samurai to...
I only know the Wolverine 2013 movie.
Yeah,
That's my extent of knowledge with Silver Samurai.
Exactly, same here.
But I always would think like they remind me of each other.
Him versus Storm Shadow or... What's his name? He's a G.I. Joe character. The Black Mask one.
Oh, Snake Eyes?
Snake Eyes.
Yeah, Snake Eyes.
How did I forget that?
Snake Eyes.
I love Snake Eyes. Shredder went toe-to-toe with Batman in their crossover at one point.
Oh, that's right.
So if he is able to go toe-to-toe with Batman, I'm saying he can beat a lot of comic characters.
He could probably beat, yeah. He can 1v1 Superman and win. Confirmed.
He doesn't have the extensive knowledge to do that.
Oh, of course. Let's see.
Batman solo as anybody, I'm saying it. Besides, maybe Goku. I gotta be honest, but if he finds Goku's weakness, which is needles.
Batman prep time. He beats Goku, finds out his fear of needles. He goes to Arkham Penitentiary, grabs some from who will become Harley Quinn, Dr. Harleen Quinzel. Steals the needles, uses them on Goku. He wins. That immediately Batman is multi-universal level, scaled. Perfect. They did it.
Yeah.
That's how you improve it. If he can beat Goku, he's multi-universal.
Yeah.
But let's see what else in the comic book world. Just as a sort of what is it? original plan, I guess. Our original plan was this was only going to be 10 minutes.
Yeah.
And I thought that we would go overtime, but
we can. It's a podcast, so I guess we can go as long as we want.
Right? Yeah, I mean, to the 0.7 people that are listening at this point, Mikey.
Yes.
Who would you say is your favorite superhero team?
The Turtles.
The Turtles, really?
Yeah.
I think that makes total sense. The Turtles are extremely iconic.
They're relatable. They're not too. They don't have superpowers. They're just superhuman. They've
endured the test of time.
They really have. They've gone from 1987, I think, was their first appearance, and they've lived on, kind of like The Simpsons, except a lot of people fell off The Simpsons.
You know, I think my when I was really little, I loved this one team. I think it was also just called TMNT. It was this one Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles CGI film. What was that one called?
Oh, that was like the 2009 one, I think.
Yeah, it's like Leo gets in like iron armor or something like that. Like
Raphael does.
Raphael, my bad.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was a good movie, actually.
Was it good?
Yeah,
I thought it wasn't just me being little. It was a game
as well. It was pretty fun on the Wii.
Out of the Shadows or something. I remember that video game.
Yeah.
Let's see. My favorite superhero team. You know, I'm just gonna. It's the Justice League. Yeah. I love the Justice League. Yes, a large reason because Batman's in it, but also because I just don't get me wrong. I love the Avengers. I really do love the Avengers dearly. They're my number 2.
The members of the Avengers also change a lot.
They change a lot. I appreciate how DC, for the most part, keeps the team very consistent. We always have the Trinity. You cannot have the Justice League without the OG Trinity of Wonder Woman, Superman, and most Batman.
Likely Flash,
and of course Flash is going to be there, and he's the 4th unofficial member, of course. I at first was kind of uncomfortable with their omission, especially in the DCEU. I didn't really like their omission of Green Lantern. I feel like he's one of the key members.
What did they do with him in the DCEU?
He's just... They don't show Hal Jordan or anything. They just show the Green Lanterns fighting Darkseid's army in a flashback. They just show... They don't do anything. He's not in it. And so...
That's so disappointing.
And that is disappointing because they reference him too. They literally say, Steppenwolf, when he comes down to Earth, I can't... By the way, I can't stand the first Justice League. There were 2 of us. We were talking about how we just were so just disappointed immensely by Justice League. And what was I saying? Oh, so in a flashback, he's talking about this planet has no Kryptonian because Superman's dead, no lanterns. What do you think he's talking about there? And then he just goes on his whole speech. But in that flashback, you see a Green Lantern fighting fighting against Darkseid army people.
That movie had so much potential.
It really did, and that's why I really hope the Snyder Cut really kind of brings it all together. Nervous-sighted for that one. Nervous-sighted.
Yeah.
But the Justice League is my favorite team.
If we're going to go off of TV shows as well, I think Young Justice is one of my favorite
I'm going to counteract you with that. I'm going to say Teen Titans is one of my favorite teams.
Yeah, I love Teen Titans, the original show, the comics, everything about them. I like their new Rebirth comic where they're all older and they're all not teens anymore, they're adults.
The adult Titans.
Yeah, but Young Justice is basically just Teen Titans, except... They're a little bit... They become older as time goes on.
Yeah, they become older, and also I feel like the group is less restrictive. It's a way larger group.
Yeah.
For the most part. Of course,
the first season, it was just... The Trinity was Flash.
It was Kid Flash, Robin, and Superboy. Right?
Superboy, yeah. And then the unofficial one was Aqualad.
Aqualad, that's right.
Yeah.
He's Teen Titans.
Or was it... No, it was... not Nightwing, Robin, Flash, and Aqualad, and then Superboy was the unofficial member of the Trinity of those 3. Because remember, the first couple episodes was those 3, and then it was Superboy. Because Superboy, the whole first season, was learning who he was and stuff.
What I love about Young Justice is it's very much where it kind of in its story. It makes a duality with the Teen Titans where I feel they differ because so many people I think just say what's the point in having the both of them? Well, I think they tell 2 different stories. Young Justice is more so a story about these young men and women becoming superheroes of their own, stepping out of the shadow of the predecessor. Teen Titans kind of goes into that. you can argue with Dick Grayson especially, because Dick Grayson kind of joined the Teen Titans as a sort of rebellious action towards Batman, to be like, I'm done with you, I'm doing this now. But Teen Titans, I think, more so focuses in on the relationship amongst the heroes in the group, like how they grow to love each other and become a family for each other.
Yeah.
While I feel Young Justice is them growing up, becoming their own. That theme is prevalent across both superhero teams, but I feel like I get that impression more so from the two of them. They tell two different stories. There's a lot of carryover between those two themes across both teams. But Teen Titans is always, the connections that like seeing this group of people go from people that like just kind of were together by chance, together just because they're quote unquote freaks. You got a Tamaranian, you got a cyborg, you got a Beast Boy, you got the daughter of Trigon, and then you have the ex protege of Batman. And it's sort of these guys who are out misfits, just kind of not really knowing where they are in life, coming together and using the love they have for each other to grow and become who they want to become. And that's why I really love the Teen Titans. They've been a huge superhero team in my life, and oh my god, now that I've said it out loud, like I'm scared to say it, but I might like them more than the Avengers. I feel scared to say that, but
you see how my group doesn't even come with the Avengers, because like they change too much. It's not core.
They do.
It's not like core members. They also have too many teams, like the Dark Avengers, the Young Avengers, the New Avengers,
the West Coast Avengers, or whatever that was.
Mm-hmm. The East Coast Avengers or something like that. They had the Australia, or not the Australia, the UK, I think it was, something like that. They had like other country Avengers as well. I don't know. It's just like it's too much for me.
Yep, and now we're gonna have the female Avengers in the MCU, the all female.
Not to rip on that. If they do it well, they do it well, but I don't think they should have.
I mean, it's just but the point being that there's just so many Avengers teams. There's so many of them.
Too many.
But I love the Avengers too. But like again, they are a very ever shifting team, and while I do like the sheer mass of the team, like I like that idea, they have this army of superheroes. Like these are the Avengers. It is hard to kind of, like, I mean, you do have your core members. You have your Captain America, your Iron Man, your, who else would be, like, a Hulk. Like, you have your core Avengers team members. Thor, definitely.
The Trinity
Black Widow.
of Marvel is Thor, Captain America, and Iron Man.
Thor, Captain America, Iron Man. Yeah, even though Spider-Man's more popular than all of them.
Yeah, but I mean...
But, like, yes, I know what you mean, definitely.
The
MCU definitely sort of made it like that. But also, like, what was I going to say? But yeah, like, for example, like, one thing that always kind of bothered me, people aren't really bothered by this because it's like, oh, I want to see him on the more popular team, but I always was bothered by it. I really disliked how in Avengers vs. X-Men, like, Wolverine was on the Avengers side.
Yeah.
I thought that was weird, and it's kind of like, why? He's sort of the X-Man.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was a long segment on our two favorite superhero teams. Is there anything else you'd like to talk about?
I don't know. I feel like we should wrap this up.
Okay. Yeah. Batman Arkham City is the best superhero game of all time. Yeah.
Spider-Man PS4 is the best version of Spider-Man.
I can't wait for Robert Pattinson Batman. Oh, that movie. We can make a whole podcast just on that, the Batman movies and Batman.
The Three Jokers was a surprisingly let down comic. I have to say that. That's my opinion.
My favorite cheese is either mozzarella or Parmesan. They're both great, but I think that mozzarella melts better. Parmesan you can just put on everything, but if you're Italian melted, I think taste-wise mozzarella, but if you just want a very versatile cheese, Parmesan's the best one.
Liam Neeson looks like he should be a mob boss in anything.
Mikey Grimes looks like Shaggy from Scooby-Doo.
I do. Nobody knows that because this YouTube does not have my face, but one day you will see.
I have to poop so badly.
Yes, okay. This has been my podcast with Shade. Thank you. I'm Michael.
I'm Punch the Mike.
I'm Punch the Michael Grimes. Have a nice day. Bye.